Hello and welcome to MegaHockey podcast episode
12 seconds of the second period.
Doing great over here. Just getting over that post-Thanksgiving lull here. Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. Hope everyone's enjoying the hockey out there.
Yeah, before we start, we are sorry for the delays in the podcast. It was posted Sunday, November 30th, instead of Wednesday, but hopefully we can have our next biweekly recap posted, either, next Sunday or, next Wednesday, not this Wednesday. But yeah, without further ado, we're going to be, recapping the, November 16th to 23 week and the November 23rd to 29th. The 30th games are, one of them has started, the Islanders vs the Caps. Caps are leading 2-0. But yeah, we're gonna be recapping everything till today, basically, as well. So no 9 to 16 right now. And then we're gonna have the league stats, and then Dad's weekly rant as usual. So, are you ready to get this started?
Let's do it.
Okay, so starting off with November 9th to November 16th. Here we have on November 16th 5 games. The Penguins shutting out the Preds 4-0 at home. The Canucks 6-2 over the Lightning. The Wild 3-2 over the Knights in OT. The Red Wings 2-1 over the Rangers. The Avs 4-1 over the Isles. Then Monday, we had 6 games. November 17th, Hurricanes 3-1 over the Bruins. The Sabres 5-1 over the Oilers. The Panthers 8-5 over the Canucks. 13 goals scored in that game. Caps 2-1 over the Kings. We had the Canadians, the Blue Jackets 4-3 over the Canadians in the shootout. And we had the Ducks 3-2 over the Mammoth in OT. Now moving on to Tuesday, November 18th, we had the Maple Leafs 3-2 over the Blues in OT. We had the Red Wings 4-2 over the Kraken. We had the Lightning 5-1 over the Devils. The Islanders 3-2 over the Stars. The Jets 5-2 over the Blue Jackets. The Blackhawks 5-2 over the Flames. The Golden Knights 3-2 over the Rangers. And the Sharks 3-2 over the Mammoth in OT. Now moving on to November 19th, which is Wednesday. We had 4 games that day. We had the Caps 7-4 over the Oilers. The Flames 6-2 over the Sabres. The Wild 4-3 over the Hurricanes in a shootout. And the Ducks 4-3 over the Bruins. Yeah, the Ducks are on a roll, by the way. Now Thursday, November 20th, 12 games today, a lot. Blue Jackets 3-2 over the Maple Leafs, OT. The Caps 8-4 over the Canadians. The Islanders 5-0 over the Red Wings. The Panthers 1-0 over the Devils. The Flyers 3-2 over the Blues. The Lightning 2-1 over the Oilers, and OT. The Kraken 3-2 over the Blackhawks. The Avs 6-3 over the Rangers. The Golden Knights 4-1 over the Mammoth. The Stars 4-2 over the Canucks. The Senators 3-2 over the Ducks. The Sharks 4-3 over the Kings in a shootout. And that is that day. Now we're going to move on to Friday. November 21st, we only have 4 games today. But yeah, the Sabres 9-3 over the Blackhawks. You don't see that from the Sabres too often. We had the Wild shutting out the Penguins 5-0. We had the Hurricanes 4-3 over the Jets, and the Bruins 2-1 over the Kings in OT. Now Saturday, we had 12 games. The Red Wings 4-3 over the Blue Jackets in OT. The Blues 2-1 over the Isles. The Montreal Canadiens 5-2 over the Maple Leafs. We had the Oilers 6-3 over the Stanley Cup final rematch there. Flyers 6-3 over the Devils. Kraken 3-2 over the Pens in OT. And we had the Lightning 5-3 over the Caps. The Sens 3-2 over the Sharks. The Avs 3-0 over the Preds. The Mammoth 3-2 over the Rangers. The Flames 3-2 over the Stars in a shootout. And then the Ducks 4-3 over the Golden Knights in OT. Sunday there were 6 games. November 23rd, we had the Sabres 4-1 over the Hurricanes. We had the Wild 3-0 over the Jets. We had the Islanders 1-0 over the Kraken in a shootout. We had the Avs 1-0 over the Blackhawks. We had the Sharks 3-1 over the Bruins. And lastly, we had the Flames 5-2 over the Canucks. What do you think about that week, Dom?
So I think that there are 3 themes that are jumping out at me that are going on right now. The first is just the Avalanche. Holy moly. They are dominating the league. I mean, we're talking, they've lost 1 game in regulation in their first 25 games. And more notably, Their differential goal diff is plus 48 in 25 games. This is absolutely insane. The second place team with goal diff is Tampa Bay with plus 19. They're dominating the league. Unbelievable. A second theme that jumps out at me is just the parity of the league. Aside from Colorado, teams are all bunched up, right? So what we say here is liable to change, perhaps very drastically in the future. For example, you have Anaheim, they're in 7th place in the league with 31 points, and Edmonton is 23rd in the league, but they're only 4 points fewer than Anaheim. They have 27 points. So this is going to shift and it's going to move a lot in the coming weeks here. So we'll see how it goes, but it makes for a very exciting league. I think the third theme is that the kids are taking over. So Bleacher Report had a post recently. The only players to have 2 hat tricks this season, Cooley, Macklin, and Bedard, right? The young kids are taking over. You see this. You see this with Anaheim jumping up in the standings. Super exciting team. You see this with San Jose. Even though they're 22nd in the league, that's still a lot better than a lot of people had predicted. And they're just so exciting, and they're clearly on the rise. So it's just really great to see all these young kids transforming the league and the changing of the guard. And so that's something we're gonna be keeping a close eye on as we proceed here.
Yeah, yeah, exciting week there. Yeah, we have scoring is up. Um, a lot. There are a lot of games where teams always have 5 or more goals. So yeah, but now we go into the next week. Or should I? Or well, almost a week. Um, November 24th, which is a Monday. We had the Lightning shutting out the Flyers 3-0. We had the Devils 4-3 over the Red Wings. We had the Rangers 3-2 over the Blues. We had the Caps 5-1 over the Blue Jackets. We had the Panthers 8-3 over the Reds. We had the Mammoth 5-1 over the Golden Knights. And lastly, we had the Kings 2-1 over the Senators. Tuesday, we get the Batman special. We have one game, which was the Stars 8-3 over the Oilers. Then on Wednesday, 15 games. Wow. So couldn't put some of those games on Tuesday. We had the Preds 6-3 over the Red Wings. We had the Lightning 5-1 over the Flames. We had the Flyers 4-2 over the Panthers. We had the Devils 3-2 over the Blues in OT. We had the Bruins 3-1 over the Isles. We had the Pens 4-2 over the Sabres. We had the Caps 4-3 over the Jets. We had the Rangers 4-2 over the Hurricanes. We had the Maple Leafs 2-1 over the Blue Jackets. We had the Wild 4-3 over the Blackhawks in OT. We had the Avs 6-0 over the Sharks. We had the Canadians 4-3 over the Mammoth. We had the Sens 4-3 over the Golden Knights in a shootout. We had the Canucks 5-4 over the Ducks, and we had the Stars 3-2 over the Kraken. And then now on Thursday we've got another Batman special with 0 games. So you should have put all 16 games on Wednesday, I guess. And then we have another 15 games on Friday here. So yeah, getting into that, we had the Lightning 6-0 over the Red Wings. We had the Rangers 6-2 over the Bruins. We had the Wild 3-2 over the Avs in a shootout. We had the Devils 5-0 over the Sabres. We had the Flames 5-3 over the Panthers. We had the Flyers 4-3 over the Isles in a shootout. We had the Blues 4-3 over the Sens. The Canadians 4-1 over the Golden Knights. The Ducks 5-4 over the Kings in a shootout. We had the Sharks 3-2 over the Canucks. The Caps 4-2 over the Maple Leafs. The Hurricanes 5-1 over the Jets. The Pens 4-3 over the Blue Jackets in OT. The Preds 4-3 over the Blackhawks. We had the Stars 4-3 over the Mammoth. Yeah, now it's Saturday, 11 games. November 29th, we had over Stars, the Lightning 4-1 over the Rangers. The Avs 7-2 over the Canadians. The Oilers 4-0 over the Kraken. The Bruins 3-2 over the Red Wings in a shootout. The Flyers 5-3 over the Devils. The Maple Leafs 7-2 over the Pens. The Jets 5-2 over the Preds. The Blues 1-0 over the Mammoth. The Sabres 3-2 over the Wild in a shootout. The Sharks 4-3. The Golden Knights 4-3 over the Sharks. And lastly, the Kings 2-1 over the Canucks in OT. And yeah, that sums out our scores reading. What do you think of that and just the 2 weeks in general, Dot?
So it seems to me that we're talking about parity in the league. Everyone's kind of bunched up in the middle. But it seems to me that the cream might be rising to the top. So if you look at these trends, you got Minnesota 8-0-2 in their last 10. Wallstead has been insane. NHL News had a post recently. He had been 5-0-0. 3 shutouts, 970 goals against, 970 save percentage, excuse me, 1 goals against average, and a 7.54 goals saved above expected. He's been lights out. You have Tampa Bay 8-2 in the last 10, 7 in a row. And by the way, this is why you have to tune into the Mega Hockey Pod because we're not going to steer you wrong. Last pod, I said to you guys that Tampa Bay was, down in the standings, but they have too much talent and they're going to rise. And lo and behold, here we are. And Tampa Bay has risen and they're first place in the Atlantic right now by of 4 points over the Bruins. And so we have a good feel for this. You also have the Caps 7-2-1. It seems like the quality teams are starting to make a push um, and rise up in the standings. We will monitor this and we'll see how this develops as we proceed here. The Caps are interesting. Chikrin, 23 points. Chikrin is really doing the thing for Washington. Logan Thompson, I think, is one of the most underrated goalies in the league. 215, 912. He's really been doing well, and he's putting back-to-back quality seasons together, so that's really great. And when you look at kind of the reasons why teams are outperforming, I think you want to look at the penalty kill. I think that's really important. Tampa Bay leading the league, 88.5% PK. And then you look at teams like Philly and Buffalo. Philly's outperforming. Buffalo, perhaps not outperforming in the standings, but when you look at the goals against, they're definitely outperforming. Buffalo, 88.1, Philly, 85.7 PK percentage. And so it starts with defense, folks, and these teams are focusing on defense, and you see them rise up. So those are some impressions. It seems like you had some teams jump up in the beginning. You had your Seattles and your Utahs, and they're kind of falling back a little bit. I'm curious to see if this trend continues where the quality teams, the teams that have been good, continue to rise up and these upstarts kind of fall back. Anaheim's certainly an exception to that. They're, seventh in the league right now. It's super exciting, really fun to watch. And so those are some thoughts I have. I was going to include the Islanders, our team here, in my list of teams that are on the rise, but this homestand has been garbage. They've been dropping games and more importantly, not scoring. Isles are last in the league on the power play. And what's really shocking is that if you take away Schaefer, Schaefer's got 4 power play goals. If you take away Schaefer, the rest of the team has 7 power play goals combined. To put that in perspective, Wyatt Johnston has 10. Draisaitl, DeBrusk, the Carillionaire, DeBrincat, and Dorofeyev all have 7. So we have individual players who have as many power play goals as this whole team. So the Isles seem like they're falling off a little bit. So we're looking at goal differential. We're looking at goals against. We're looking at special teams to try to figure out who's for real, who are the contenders, who are the pretenders here. But so far, it's been really exciting, and I this shift is very interesting.
Yeah, and then now we kind of move on to the league here. But to add on to your point with the league, yeah. So we're starting to see some of the people that jumped in before that were outliers here. But really the only ones left on the good side are like Anaheim, Philly, the 7th and 8th places. Everyone else is really away from the playoff, making like the top 10 and stuff, and then guys you would expect to come up, I guess, are the Rangers at 19th, the Florida and Winnipeg and Edmonton 25, 24, and 23 places respectively, and Toronto at 27th. And maybe Utah jumping up a bit because they are 21st too. So it's more of the normally good teams being bad and the norm and not as much of the normally bad teams being good. But yeah, so I think these teams, especially like Florida, Edmonton, and Winnipeg, will probably jump to the tops of the standings very soon. But yeah, to just look onto the league a second, you guys can all see it on your screen. Anaheim went from 4th to 7th since Wednesday. Yeah, Colorado keeps staying at 18-1-6, as you've said. Dallas, getting that second spot when Tampa jumping up too. Yeah, so you're starting to see these teams that are normally good, get better, and I think in this year, and I think the other teams will follow. So yeah. What do you have to say in the league stats?
Yeah, like I said, I think we're all bunched up. I think that you have the better teams, the teams that have been good are starting to make a run here. Um, but there's a lot to be sorted out. Um, I'm looking at the Atlantic. I don't know what's going on with Montreal, Ottawa, Detroit. They're all kind of in the middle. Are they going to finally make a push or are they going to fall back? Um, the Metro, the Rangers just seem like they have too much talent. Although today Fox is now on LTIR, so that's a big blow for them. Um, and then we'll see what happens. Looking at the Central, teams like Utah, teams like Chicago, are they going to make a push or are they going to fall back? I think this is really interesting. I think some of this parity is going to get shaken out in the coming weeks, and then we'll see who the real contenders for the cup are.
Yeah, and now it is time for Dad's rant.
Okay, guys. I don't want to go off on a rant here, but looking at what's going on in the landscape, what struck me was Canada. Why are your teams so bad? What is going on with you guys? You guys are, the home of hockey. And I know you're going to say, well, even if our teams are bad, most teams are comprised of Canadian players and Canadian players are so good, blah, blah, blah. But your organizations are not doing very well right now. Let's break it down. So we have the 7 Canadian teams. We got Calgary, this is going back as of a couple days ago, but 9-14-3, 21 points. They're 31st in the league, 15th in the conference. Vancouver, 10-13-2, 22 points, 14th in the conference, 30th in the league. The Mega Hockey Pod, we may have to do a deep dive on Vancouver. I don't understand what's going on with these guys. It seems like they have a lot of talent. You got Bezer, you got EP40, you got Hughes. I don't know what's going on with these guys. It's a East Coast, West Coast thing. I don't watch a lot of games, but it seems like they should be way better than where they are. And Calgary, Vancouver, the goal differential, -16, -15. That's not getting it done. You got Toronto, 10-11-3, 23 points, 15th in the conference, 27th in the league, -9 goal diff. What's going on with Toronto? Is this a Marner thing? Was Marner's defense something that people didn't realize once he left they would miss that? A lot of folks are talking about Austin Matthews, how he's on the decline, even though he's still on pace for something like 40 goals. Um, Maybe he's hurt. I don't know what's going on. Winnipeg, 12-11 and 0, 24 points, 12th in the conference, 26th in the league. Winnipeg's very interesting because they actually are 9th in the league in goal differential. They're +3. So for this theme of the cream rising to the top and the better teams are making their way up the standings, one would expect Winnipeg to make their way up the standings. And so that's something that we're going to keep an eye on. I think Winnipeg's going to move up. However, not a great start to the season. Edmonton, 10-10-5, 25 points, 11th in the conference, 25th in the league. Well, now they're 23rd in the league. -18 goal diff. Is Edmonton going to finally realize that you have to play defense to win a championship? How many times are you going to lose in the Stanley Cup Finals or the playoffs in general before you realize you have to play defense? It's really why they didn't do something with Skinner is beyond me. That is not the answer. Um, Ottawa 12-8-4, 28 points, 9th in the conference, 16th in the league. I feel like they've been holding up admirably given the injury to Kachuk, but I don't really believe in them long term. And then Montreal, 13-7-3, 29 points, 6th in the conference, 10th in the league. They are the best Canadian team. However, as the Mega Hockey Pod predicted, they were going to fall off. And the reason why is because their wins were not against quality opponents and they don't have many regulation wins. A lot of them were in overtime. Cole Caulfield is doing the thing in overtime, giving them points. But as of now, 8 regulation wins, that's not good enough. That would signal to me, even though they're Montreal's goal diff is 0, and so they're kind of keeping pace, but I'm not too impressed with Montreal. And for the best Canadian team to be 10th in the league, I don't know what's going on with you boys over there. You got to figure it out. It seems like the Americans might be taking over. We may have to settle this in the Olympics next year in Italy. My rant this week is Canada, get your teams together. Get it together, boys, because you're just really not impressing anyone here.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's gonna do it for us today. I'm on Mega Hockey for our biweekly recap. Make sure to look at any of our other pods if you haven't watched them, and maybe our other channels even too. We'll link them in the description of LAF cards during the podcast while you are watching. And yeah, that will do it for us today. See you next time.